Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I will be designing a neumorphism portfolio website using Bootstrap 5. So at the top we have navigation and then we have the hero section. So inside the hero section we have an image on the left side and some text on the right side. Alright, so if I click on the services, so it goes to the services section and you can see the neomorphism effect. Okay, and when I scroll down you can see the animation. All right, and then we have the work section. So these are the different projects that this person has done, and after that we have the resume section. Okay, the experience section, and then we have the skills and the client section and call to action section, and finally a contact us form. So I will be designing this from the very beginning. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new folder and I'm gonna name this morph. I'm gonna open VS Code and I'm gonna drag this folder into VS Code. All right, so I'm gonna create a new file. This will be index.html, a new folder. I'm gonna name this assets, and here I'm gonna create a new folder for the JavaScript and one for the CSS and one for the images. All right, and I'm gonna create a HTML boilerplate. Okay, and I'm gonna rename the title to morph bootstrap new morphism website. All right, so here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to name this style.css and one for the bootstrap. Here I'm going to create a new file for the bootstrap. I'm going to name this bootstrap.bundle.main.js. All right, so I'm going to visit to the bootstrap website. Okay, I'm going to click on the docs or CDN links. Okay, so here are the CDN links. So I'm gonna select this, right click, and I'm gonna get this code. I'm gonna paste it right here and I'm gonna save this file and I'm gonna close this. So I will not be using this bootstrap default CSS. So I'm gonna visit to the boot swatch. So here we have these different themes. So I'll be using this morph, so let me show you. So as you can see, we have these different styling for the buttons, navigation bar components like input. All right, so as you can see, which is looking very cool, so I'll be using this. So how to use this? I'm going to click on the download and click on the bootstrap.css, and I'm going to get this CSS code. All right, and here I'm going to paste it. All right, so let's link these files. So I'm going to link the bootstrap CSS first, then I'm going to link custom style, custom CSS, which I have named as style.css. So in case if we need to override some of the default properties, then we will do in style.css file. And let's link the JavaScript file, which is inside the JS folder. All right, and I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm going to name this app.js. Alright, I'm going to close these files for now, and I'm going to link that file as well. Alright, so I'm going to close this and I'm going to visit to the Google Fonts website. So I'm going to search for by Jamjuri font. Okay, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select 400 weight 5, 6 and 7. I'm going to click on this, click on import, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to close this step. Okay, and I'm going to visit to style.css and I'm going to create a comment. So this will be fonts, and I'm going to paste it right here. All right, and then I'm going to reset some of the default properties. For example, I'm going to change the font. So this, if you are okay with this default font that comes with this theme, which is Nudito, I think it's also a great font, but the one that I have used is by Jim Jury, so I'm gonna using this one. All right, so I'm gonna change the font family. Okay, this will be by Jim Jury. If this is not available, then the font will be sans serif. I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna increase the line height to 1.7. All right, and what else? So I'm gonna create a class. So I'm gonna name this class section padding. All right, and I'm gonna give a padding top, let's say 120 pixel, padding bottom 120 pixel. All right, and I'm gonna select the anchor tag. I'm gonna remove the text decoration, none. All right, and what else we need to do here? Okay, so I think that's it for the reset. So let's get the navigation bar component. So I'm gonna click on this. All right, so I'm gonna copy, and I'm gonna open this file with the live server. All right, and I'm gonna create a comment. So this will be for the navigation bar, and here I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna save it. So as you can see, we have this cool styling for the input and buttons and other components. All right, so I'm going to increase the padding. So I'm going to increase the padding by 4 rem. All right, and I'm going to add another class. This will be fixed top. Okay, so it will be fixed at the top when I scrolling down. Okay, and I'm going to remove this float. So as you can see, these are very close to the border of the browser, so I have removed the float. I'm going to save it. So now we have some space, and I'm going to remove this bg light class as well. All right, and I'm going to add a class bg body. All right, and I'm going to add a shadow class. All right, so as you can see, we have this shadow, but for now I'm going to remove this shadow, and I will be adding this shadow class when I scroll to the bottom, just like we have in this finish project. So as you can see, and also as you have noticed that this link is now active, but when I enter into the services, this link is now activated. So I have used Bootstrap scroll spy, so I'm gonna visit to the get Bootstrap website, and I'm gonna search for scroll spy. All right, and I'm gonna click on the data attribute. I'm gonna copy this, copy it, and I'm gonna add it inside this body tag, and I'm gonna target navigation bar class, which is right here. All right, so I'm gonna remove the shadow. All right, so I want these links to be on the right side. So for that, so I think we don't need this drop down and this form. Okay, so I'm gonna remove some of these links. So the first one, I'm gonna remove this one. Okay, so this is going to be home, and it will go to hero section, or a section which the ID of that section is going is will be home. So okay, so I'm going to copy this link, and this will be services. It will go to this services section. So I'm going to paste it a couple of times. So this will go to work, resume, and testimonials, and finally contact. So it will go to contact section, contact us section, testimonials, and resume. It will go to the work section. Okay, save it. So as you can see, and I'm going to wrap this text inside heading 4. Okay, the text will be morph. All right, and I'm going to add a font weight bold. Okay, and I'm going to add a class margin start auto, so which means margin left auto. Okay, so as you can see, now these are on the right side. All right, so as you have noticed that in this finished project we have some more space between these nav links, so these are a little bit close to each other. So I'm going to right click on this. All right, so as you can see, we have these spacing padding left and right. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to visit to the style.css, and I'm going to create a comment. So this will be navigation bar, and I'm going to paste that. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste inside this media query. Okay, so when the screen size is equal to or greater than 992 pixel, then I'm going to increase the padding by, let's say, 24 pixel. All right, so as you can see, we have some space now. So I think this is going to be 16 will be enough. All right, and I'm going to select the navigation bar, then I'm going to select nav bar nav, then I'm going to select the nav link. Okay, which is nav bar nav class. So we have this nav link inside this class. Okay, so I'm going to change the font size to say 14 pixel. Okay, and I'm going to set the text transform uppercase. All right, and I'm going to change the font weight to, let's say, 600. All right, looking great. And I'm going to change the color for the active link as well. Color is going to be variable bs info. So if I visit to the bootstrap.css, so as you can see we have these different color. Okay, so I'm gonna using this bs info color as a main color. So I'm gonna uh, yep, so I'll be using that as a main color. Save it. Oops. All right, so I think that's it for the navigation. So now I'm gonna collapse this. Okay, here I'm gonna create a comment. So this will be hero. Here I'm gonna create an id, a div with an id hero, and inside this hero id I'm gonna create a container class. Inside this container I'm gonna create a row, and here I'm gonna put a column lg5. All right, in this column I'm gonna put an image. So we don't have the images, so let me copy the images. Okay, copied, and I'm gonna paste the images right here. All right, so we have this image, and I'm gonna add a class image fluid. All right, and I'm gonna add a class, so I'm gonna give some padding from the top and bottom, so which the class that I have created. So you can use bootstrap padding. So padding top and bottom is going to be 5 frames, so I think it is a little bit not that enough, so I'll be using this custom padding for the section. So as you can see we have some space now, looking great. And this means that this image is going to cover 5 column spaces. So the space on large and above large, and below this it will gonna cover 12 column space. All right, here I'm going to create another column. This will gonna cover 7 column space. All right, and I'm going to copy the text from the finished project. So I'm going to put it in h1. All right, and I'm going to copy this text. I'm going to paste it. All right, and I'm going to put 2 buttons. So the first button is going to be btn outline info, and the text is going to be my work, and it will go to the work section if the user click on this button. And I'm going to put another button, so this is going to be btn info, and this will go to the contact section, contact me. All right, so as you can see we have these 2 buttons. Okay, so this is the outline button and this is the primary button. So I want the text and this image to be vertically in the center, so I'm going to add a class align item center. Save it. So as you can see these are now in the center, and I'm going to add another class. So I'm going to add a class, so the class is going to be font weight bold. All right, and I'm going to increase the font size, so I'm going to add a class display 4, and I'm going to wrap this inside a span tag. It's going to be, I'm going to change the color. Color is going to be this main color, which is the info color, and I'm going to add a break tag here. So all right, looking great. I think this should be column 6. Okay, yep, column 6 is looking great. So as you can see, we don't have enough space between the text and the image. So I'm gonna add a class gutter top and bottom for him. So as you can see, we have some space now. Looking great. And I'm gonna add some space right here between the buttons. So I'm gonna select this first button. I'm gonna add a margin end or margin, which means from the right side, add 2 rem. Alright, so we have some space now. Let me add a 3 rem. Great. So when I scroll down, I want to add a shadow to the navigation bar, just like we have in this finished project. Okay, so this should be section. So I have mistyped that. It's going to be section. Alright, so as you can see on the finished project, when I scroll down, as you can see, we have the shadow on the navigation bar, and we have added this padding top and bottom 2 rem. So I'm going to remove that 4 rem padding when I scroll down, and if I scroll to the top, then I'm going to add that. So just we don't have that right here, so when I scroll down, I'm going to add the shadow. Okay, so how to do that? So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to name this navigation bar, and I'm going to select the navigation bar, which is navigation bar class, which is nav bar. Okay, then I'm going to type window on scroll event. Okay, I'm going to create a callback function. Okay, so I'm going to check if the scrolling position is greater than 0. This is going to be scroll y. Okay, on y-axis, if the scrolling position is greater than, let's say, 0. Okay, then I'm gonna type alert. So let's see if this is working or not. So as you can see, working. So I'm gonna select the navigation bar. Okay, then I'm gonna add a class which is going to be shadow. Alright, so as you can see, and if I scroll to the top, I'm gonna remove the shadow, and I'm gonna add another class. It's going to be padding top and bottom 2 rem. Okay, and so as you can see, we have this padding top and bottom 4 rem. So I'm going to remove this when I scroll to down, and I'm going to add another class. Is going to be 2 rem, padding top and bottom 2 rem instead of 4. So how to do that? So I'm going to select the navigation bar, and I'm going to remove the class which is padding top and bottom 4 rem. Okay, so when I scroll down, as you can see, all right, and else I'm gonna copy this. All right, I'm gonna add a padding top and bottom 4 rem, and I'm gonna remove these when I scroll to the top. So it's going to be shadow and 2 rem. All right, so as you can see, so I'm gonna add a transition to the navigation bar so it will be smooth. So I'm gonna select navigation bar, I'm gonna transition is out. All right, so as you can see, oops, 0.4 second. All right, looking great. Okay, so let's see. So it will go to the hero section. So as you can see, this link is now active. So we are at the hero section. All right, so that's it for the navigation. So let's add I think 3 rim will be enough. Okay, great. So I'm gonna design this services section. All right, so for that I'm gonna create a comment. So this will be services. I'm gonna create a div and I'm gonna give an ID services, and I'm gonna add a class section padding. All right, so let me scroll down. So here I'm gonna create a container. Inside the container I'm gonna create a row. All right, inside this row I'm gonna create a column 12, and I'm gonna name this I'm gonna add a class intro section. Here I'm gonna put h1 and the text will be my services. Alright, so I'm gonna copy the text and I'm gonna paste the text inside a paragraph tag. Alright, so I'm gonna select this intro section. I'm gonna add a margin bottom, let's say 4 okay, and I'm gonna select this heading 1. I'm gonna set the font weight to bold, which is the weight is going to be 700. Okay, I want the text to be in the center, so I'm gonna add a class text center. All right, and I want this text to be in the center. Okay, so as you can see, the text is in the intro section is not covering like the whole space from the left and right. So as you can see right here, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a class margin left and right auto. Okay, and here I'm going to create another comment. So this will be intro section. I'm going to select that intro section class. I'm going to select the paragraph and I'm going to give a maximum width, let's say 500 pixel. So as you can see, it is not covering like the whole space, so 560. Yep, 560 is enough. All right, so as you can see, we have this divider. So I'm gonna add that divider. So here I'm gonna create another class. This will be divider. So I'm gonna set the border bottom to 1 pixel solid. Color is going to be black, and I'm gonna set the opacity to 0.1. All right, so I'm gonna add that class right here, divider. I'm gonna save it. So as you can see, we have this divider, section divider, and I'm going to reduce the opacity to 0 0.5, 0 0.5, oops, 0.05 or 0.8. Yep, 0.8 is looking great. So I'm gonna design the services. So I have used these icon from the Remix icon website. So I'm gonna visit to that website. So Remix icons. Okay, I'm gonna click on this link, and then I'm gonna click on the get started, and I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna copy this link. All right, and here I'm gonna paste that link. All right, I'm gonna close this, and now I can use these icons. So I'm gonna copy this icon. All right, and here I'm gonna create another row. All right, inside this row I'm gonna add a class column md6 column lg4. So it means below column md this div will cover 12 column space, and up to lg it will cover 6 column space, and on large devices it's gonna cover 4 column space, and above lg it will gonna cover 4 column space. So yeah, that's it. So here I'm going to create a class. This is going to be service. All right, and here I'm going to create another class. It's going to be icon. I'm going to place the icon right here, and I'm going to create a h5. It's going to be the service title, so I'm going to type service heading, and I'm going to get the text from the finish project. All right, I'm going to paste it inside a paragraph. All right, so I'm going to save it, and let's see. So I'm going to design the icon. So before designing that, let me add a padding. So I'm going to add a padding 4 rem, and I'm going to add another class. It's going to be shadow. All right, and I'm going to add another class. It's going to be border radius 5 rem. All right, so I'm going to design the icon, and let me adjust the space. So I'm going to type from the top is going to be 4 rem. All right, and I'm going to remove the padding from the paragraph. So I'm going to remove margin bottom 0. So this paragraph tag has a default padding, so I have removed that. Okay, so here I'm going to create a comment. It's going to be service, then I'm going to select service. I'm going to select the icon class. I'm going to give a width let's say 80 pixel, height 80 pixel. All right, and color is going to be this main color, and font size is going to be 44 pixel. No, it's going to be 34. All right. So as you can see on this finished project, we have this effect, this shadow effect. So I'm gonna visit to bootstrap.css, and I'm gonna search for ansett. So I'm gonna copy this. All right, copy it, and here I'm gonna paste it, save it, and let's see. So as you can see, we have this effect, and also I'm gonna add the border radius rounded 4, so which means border radius 4 rem. So as you can see, and I want the icon to be in the center of this. So for that, I'm gonna add display grid align content center, text align center. All right, great. And I'm gonna add a font weight, let's say 700. So this is going to be font weight bold. Awesome. So on hover, I'm gonna add this border effect. Okay, so as you can see in the finished project, so for that I'm gonna add a class border hover. So I'm gonna copy this class, and here I'm gonna paste that class. I'm gonna add a transition ease out. Okay, and I'm gonna set the border to, let's say, 2 pixels solid transparent, and when on hover. All right, so I'm gonna change the border color to be this info color. So as you can see, great. So I'm gonna duplicate this, save it and refresh. So as you can see, these are horizontally it is the space is looking fine, but vertically they are touching each other. So I'm gonna select this row. All right, and I'm gonna give off the space between these services boxes for him. All right, and I'm gonna change the icon. So I'm gonna put some. All right, so I have changed the icons. Okay, so I'm going to increase the space between the intro section and these services. So I'm going to add a margin bottom to, let's say, 5 frame. Yep, 5 is looking fine. All right, so what we have now, so I'm going to design this project section. So I'm going to duplicate this section, copy it, and here I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to remove this. All right, I'm going to remove this service. Oops, so I'm going to remove this all. All right, so I'm going to change the comment. So this is going to be work or projects. It's going to be work. All right. Home services. So let's fix the services link. Services. All right. And I'm gonna add the divider. So as you can see, we don't have the divider. So I'm gonna add a class to the top section. It's going to be divider. All right. So here I'm gonna create a class. I'm gonna add a class padding for him, border. So what was that class? Border hover. All right, and I'm gonna add a class shadow. I'm gonna give a border radius 5 frame. All right, and I'm gonna put an image here. It's going to be images, and I'm gonna select this one, project one, save it, and I'm gonna add a class image fluid. All right, and I'm gonna add a class border radius to this image as well, rounded 5 frame. All right, and I'm gonna add a h5. All right, so I'm gonna put an anchor tag here. I'm gonna put h5. This is going to be project heading, 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 and I'm gonna put a badge right here. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna search for badge. So here is the badge. So I'm gonna use that. So I'm gonna add a class. This is going to be This is going to be a span tag. Sorry, class is going to be badge, and the background color is going to be info, and the project type is let put UI design. All right, and let me give some space from the top. So I'm gonna select the image. I'm gonna give a margin bottom, let's say 3 rem. All right, I'm gonna select the heading, it's anchor tag, and I'm gonna give margin top, let's say margin top 4 rem. All right, so this is not working because this should be a block. So I'm gonna add a class display block. All right, so now I'm gonna give margin top, let's say 4 rem. All right, say 2 rem, and I'm gonna add another class. The font is going to be bold. Oops, I'm gonna add a class to this one. Font is going to be bold. All right, looking great. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Save it. Okay, so I'm gonna change the image. So this is going to be 5, 4, 3, 5, and it's going to be 2. Save it and refresh. All right, looking great. So the next section is going to be this resume section. So it's going to be pretty simple. So I'm gonna copy this section, paste it, and I'm gonna remove this row. All right, I'm gonna change this to resume, and the ID is going to be resume as well. All right, so if I click on the resume, it goes to the resume section, and I'm gonna add the divider here. All right, and I'm gonna change the text to my resume. So here I'm gonna create a row. All right, inside this row I'm gonna add a class column md3, so it will gonna cover 3 column space, and I'm gonna put an image. Image is going to be logo 1. All right, and let's add a class to this row. Padding is going to be 5 rem. All right, and border on hover. All right, and I'm going to give a border radius 5 rem. All right, and I'm going to add a class shadow. All right, and here I'm going to create another class. This is going to be column md3, and so I'm going to put the title and the time. So the person was a UX designer, and the year was 2012 to 2014, and I'm going to change the color for this text. So text info, save it. So as you can see, and I'm going to copy this text. Okay, so let's use this emit plugin for generating that text column md6. Okay, 3 column, which is 6 and 6. So in a row you can put 12 column space. Okay, so I'm going to select the paragraph. I'm going to remove the margin bottom. All right, and I'm going to put some text, lorem, let's say 18. All right, I think it's looking great. So let me resize the window. So as you can see, these are very close to each other. So to create some space, I'm gonna give space is going to be 3 rem or 4 rem. So now we have some space. All right, and I'm going to remove this gutter space from this row as well. Gutter left and right is going to be 0. All right, looking great. So I'm going to duplicate this row, save it. So as you can see, these are very close to each other and almost they are touching each other. So to give so I'm going to give some space. So I'm going to select this row and I'm going to give margin of 4 rem. All right, let me give it a 5 rem. 5 is too much, so I think 4 is enough. Yep. And I'm going to change the logo. So this is going to be logo 2. It's going to be logo 3. All right. All right, so let's create the scale section. So I'm going to copy this row. All right, I'm going to collapse this, and here I'm going to create a div. Okay, I'm going to add a class section padding. All right, here I'm going to create a class container, and I'm going to paste the row, and this is going to be my skills. Save it, and let's see. Okay, so in the finished project we have these progress bar. Some of them are on the left and some of them on the right side, so we have 2 columns. So for that, here I'm going to create another row. All right, so in this row I'm going to create a column md6. All right, so in this column I'm going to put progress bar, and in this column I'm going to put another row. All right, and I'm going to put another column, so this will gonna cover 12 column space. All right, and here I'm going to put the progress bar. All right, so I'm going to visit to the Bootstrap website and I'm going to search for progress bar. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to copy this. Here I'm going to create a div. All right, and I'm going to put h5, and I'm going to add a class small. All right, and the text will be HTML, and I'm going to put the progress bar right here. I'm going to save it and let's see. All right, and color, I'm going to change the color, so the color is going to be bg info. All right, looking great. So I'm going to duplicate this column. All right, so as you can see, these are very close to each other, so I'm going to select this row. I'm going to give a gutter top and bottom for him. All right, so we have now enough space, and this is going to be HTML CSS, and I'm going to increase the width to, let's say this is going to be 75. Save it, and the width is going to be 75 as well. All right, and I'm going to do this for this one, so I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to paste it, and the text is going to be JavaScript. All right, So I'm going to select this, Control D, and this is going to be, let's say, 95, or let's say 80. Save it, and I'm going to do this for the last one. It's going to be, let's say, 60. Save it. Oops, it's going to be 60. All right, so I'm going to copy this column. Okay, I'm going to copy and I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to paste it right here. So let me see. So as you can see, we have some space right here. So I think here these are a little bit close to each other. So for that, I'm gonna add a class. Gutter space is going to be 5 frame. Gutter space is going to be 5 frame on medium devices and above, and below it is going to be 4 frame. Alright, so we have now some space. Alright, so what we have after that, so client section. So I'm gonna copy this, duplicate and paste. I'm gonna remove this row. Alright, so I'm gonna change the text for the comment. No, so I'm gonna copy this work section. I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna remove this row, change the comment. So this is going to be testimonials. ID is going to be testimonials as well. The text is going to be client sync. Alright, so I'm going to create another row here. Inside this row I'm going to create a column MD6, and on medium it will gonna cover 6 column space up to LG, and on LG it is gonna cover 4 column space, and below MD it will gonna cover 12 column space. Here I'm going to create a div. Inside this div I'm going to create a class. I'm going to give a padding 4 rem. Alright, I'm going to give a, I think the class was border hover. I'm going to get a shadow, and I'm going to give a border radius 5 rem. So let's see. Alright, and here I'm going to create a div. I'm going to give a color. Color is going to be text info, and I'm going to add a class remix icon star fill. Alright, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. Alright, and after that I'm going to put the text, copy it, and I'm going to put the text inside this paragraph. Alright, so this should be outside of this div. Alright, so here I'm going to create paragraph. I'm going to put the text, save it, and I'm going to remove the margin bottom. Alright, here I'm going to create another div. I'm going to put an image. It's going to be user1. let's see. All right, and I'm gonna give a border radius for them. All right, and here I'm gonna create another div here. I'm gonna put h5. I'm gonna name this John Doe, and I'm gonna put a small text, and it's going to be this person is UI designer. I'm gonna change the text color. All right, save it, and let's see. So I'm gonna add a class to this div. I'm gonna say display flex. All right, align item center, so I want the text and image to be vertically in this center. All right, and I'm gonna give some space, so I'm gonna select this div margin start, let's say 3 rem. All right, so I'm gonna select this paragraph. I'm gonna give margin top and bottom, let's say 3 rem. All right, 3 rem is looking fine. And oops, this is going to be the font weight for this is going to be, let's say, bold. All right, and a margin bottom, let's say 1 rem. All right, looking great. Awesome. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to give a gutter space 4 rem between these testimonial cards. I'm going to copy this, save it, and we have now these testimonial box. All right, so I'm going to change the image. It's going to be, let's say, image 3, 2, 1, and all right. So what we have after this, we have this call to action. All right, so I'm gonna copy this, paste it. I'm gonna remove this row. All right, I'm gonna remove this divider. Okay, I'm gonna remove this class as well. Remove the ID. All right, and here I'm gonna add the section padding. Oops, I'm gonna add a section padding. All right, and I'm gonna change the background color, so bg info, and I'm gonna add a border radius, round it 5, and I'm gonna set the text is going to be white. I'm gonna change the color for this text as well, save it, and let's see. So I'm gonna remove this divider from this section. So all right, and I'm gonna put a button right here below this paragraph. So for that I'm gonna add a anchor tag, and I'm gonna add a class btn outline info, and the text is going to be get started. So as you can see, we have this button, and I'm going to change the text. So text is going to be have a project. So the text is going to be let's discuss. So I'm going to save it, and let's see. Okay, looking great. So I'm going to design the contact us section now. All right, so I'm going to rename this to CTA. So I'm going to copy this testimonial section, and here I'm going to paste it. I'm going to remove this row, Alright, so I'm going to rename this comment. So this is going to be contact, ID is going to be contact as well, and the text is going to be contact me. Alright, so here I'm going to create a row. Alright, inside this row I'm going to create a column md add. Okay, I want this column to be in the center, so I'm going to add a class content center. So inside this column I'm going to create another row. Alright, so I'm going to add a tag. It's going to be form, and I'm going to add a class 0, and the getter space is going to be, let's say, 3rem. I'm going to add another class form group. Okay, so inside this form group class I'm going to add another class. It's going to be column on md6, so this will gonna cover 6 column space. Alright, so I'm gonna put an input tag here. Type is going to be text, and I'm gonna add a class form control. Alright, so it's going to be first name, the placeholder. It's going to be, so I'm gonna add a placeholder enter name. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this. This is going to be, type is going to be email, placeholder is going to be enter email. Alright, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, so this will gonna cover 12 column space, and the text is going to be enter subject, and the type is going to be text. Save it. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate this one more time. So I'm going to put a text area here. I'm going to remove this ID and column. I'm going to add a class form control. Alright, and I'm going to set the rows to, let's say, 4 or 5, and a place, let me add a placeholder. This is going to be enter, and then I'm going to put a button. So I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to place a button. This is going to be button, type is going to be submit, and I'm going to add a class btn primary or outline primary. The text is going to be send message. I'm going to save it, and let's see. So the button is going to be info. Alright, so that's it for the contactors form, and then we have this footer. Alright, so let's design the footer. So I'm going to add a comment. It's going to be footer. I'm going to add a footer tag. Okay, inside the footer I'm going to create a container. Okay, so I'm going to add a class column md6, and I'm going to put a paragraph tag, and I'm going to remove the margin bottom. It's going to be copyright text, okay, or whatever you like to put it right here. So I'm going to put theme designed by, so I'm going to put my name here. Alright, and in the next column, okay, I'm going to put buttons. So I'm going to place a button here. It's going to be btn outline info, and I'm going to add another class. So this is going to be btn icon, and I'm going to put remix icon Twitter fill. I'm going to save it. Alright, so we have this icon, So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this footer. I'm gonna give padding top and bottom 5 frame. BG is going to be info and the text is going to be white. All right, and I'm gonna change the text color for this link as well. All right, and I want this to be in the center of the screen, so align item center. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this button. It's going to be Google, it's going to be Instagram. I think that's it. So let me design this this button. BTN icon. Okay, I'm gonna give a let's have it 44 pixel, height 44 pixel. Okay, I want the icon to be in this center, so I'm gonna set the display grid, align content center. All right, and I'm going to remove the padding. Padding is going to be 0 and font weight is going to be normal. All right, looking great. So this is going to be in line grid. Okay, so I want this to be displayed horizontally, and let's add another class, justify content between. So this is going to be column auto. Text is going to be on the right side. So why this is not on the right side? So I'm going to add another class. This is going to be justify content between. All right, there you go. And I'm going to add a class. So I'm going to give some space between. So I'm going to add margin start, let's say 2 rem. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's see. Okay, looking great. So let me visit to the animate on scroll website. I'm going to click on this link, and then I'm going to click on this icon. I'm going to scroll to here. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to go to the top of the screen right here. I'm going to paste that link, and then I'm going to copy this. Here I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to copy this. Okay, and here I'm going to paste it. So now we can use these animations. Okay, so when I scroll down, so as you can see, fade up, fade down. So let me try this one to see if it is working or not. So I'm going to go to the hero section, and I'm going to place that right here. Oh, let me refresh. So it is now working, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add this to the paragraph. Oops, I'm going to add this data animate on scroll, and this is going to be fade off as well. All right, and I'm gonna do this for the button, so I'm gonna add a delay to this paragraphs. So I'm gonna add a delay, let's say 200 millisecond. All right, and I'm gonna do this for the button as well, so I'm gonna copy this, paste it, and this is going to be, let's say, 300 and 400. So I'm gonna save it. Awesome. So I'm gonna reduce the speed for this animation. So if you visit to the animate on scroll and use scroll to here, you can see we have this duration, okay, which is by default for 400. So I'm gonna increase that. So let me set this to 700 millisecond. Save it. All right, so which is now looking great. Awesome. And I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna do this for the image, and I'm gonna paste it right here. It's going to be fade, let's say fade down. Awesome. So let's do this for the other sections. So I'm gonna copy this. Let's do this for the services. I'm gonna remove this delay. Okay, so let me add that right here. So I'm gonna select this column, Control D, and I'm gonna paste that right here. So first, this is going to be 100, 200, and 300. It's going to be 100, 2, and 3. Save it. So as you can see, when I scroll down, awesome. So I'm gonna do this for the other section. Alright, so I have added the animation to the other section. So as you can see, okay, so let's see the responsiveness on different viewport width. So I'm gonna select this mobile phone. So on 1440 it is looking nice. So let's see on the tablet, looking great. Alright, so as you can see, so let's see this on mobile screen, looking great. Alright, so guys, that's it for this video. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to like, and yep, see you in the next video.